Well, hello there. Good evening and welcome to the program. This is Daily Politics on Trust TV. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Tonight on the program, we turn our attention to Zamfara State, where killings, abductions, and bandit attacks continue to raise serious concerns against the backdrop of national security. But beyond the violence, there is growing debate over how politicians are handling the crisis. Is insecurity being used as a tool for political leverage, especially in the northern part of the country? Well, we're joined by Umar Yuguda, a politician and stakeholder from Zamfara State, to provide some insight into what's really happening on the ground and what should be done. But first, let's have a listen to a conversation that was started earlier this week, where the accusations were made against the governor of Zamfara State, Dauda Lawal, about his political unwillingness to work with all stakeholders to bring peace and stability to the state. Here's Shuaibu Shinkafi with his thoughts about the insecurity in the state. Have a listen.
Dauda Lawal is not ready to cooperate with the two ministers or with his minister. Dauda Lawal should be very happy.
But maybe for political expediency, he feels that they will not.
No, you can't politicize issue of security.
But he inherited it.
He inherited it
from the same minister of
state.
It's
worse now. Do you know? Let me tell you something. These 50 people that were abducted, just of recent, 38 were killed, slaughtered like chicken. If it was during Matoli, I want to categorically say it here. Matoli will go to any length to make sure these people are free.
But Zamfara wasn't better during his time.
It was better. It was better during his time. They abducted Jangebe students. You are aware? They abducted.
Right, the thoughts of Shuaibu Shinkafi there, speaking earlier this week with Hamza Idris on this particular platform. Well, it's safe to say that there are a lot of people on the other side who disagree with some of these summations, and this is where our guest tonight comes into the conversation. Once again, we'll be speaking to Umar Yuguda to give us some insight into how the politics of the conversation is also making it difficult for Zamfara State to witness or at least sustain some of the gains when it comes to counter-terrorism and counter-banditry efforts in the state. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. It's good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Right. It's safe to say that you disagree with some of the submissions of Malam Shuaibu Shinkafi there. Why is he wrong about some of the things he's saying, in your view?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening, our viewers, and thank you for having me. I disagree with him on some of the things he said, particularly in putting all the blames on the current governor, which is His Excellency Dr. Dauda Lawal. I think we should have to leave politics out of all this thing and look at the main issues at hand, and that is why we have to come out and say you can't just go out here and put the blame on a particular individual just because he's the current governor, which he knows that this did not start during his tenure. I'm not defending the current governor. In fact, I go out, I criticize some of these things. I advise him also to put whatever differences he have with the current minister and put the state first. I think this is a very good thing. This is a very valuable. The only valid point he made there is saying that the governor needs to come with the current minister so that they can work. We have been saying this since last year, actually, not now. We have been advising him on this thing that, look, you have political differences with this other party, but the people involved, those people that are, that they cannot make it here to voice out they are always being attacked. As we're speaking today, there are attacks in some of these villages. So coming here to put blames on this person or put blame will not solve the issue. Once we start putting blames on the particular party or particular person, then we're actually derailing from what we should be actually focusing on.
Some would argue that people like Shuaibu Shinkafi, for instance, are only holding the leadership accountable by saying that, listen, if you are the quote-unquote chief security officer of the state, then we should hold you responsible if there is no security in parts of the state.
Yeah, but is he the actual chief security officer of the country? He doesn't control the army, and he doesn't, command them. At times, things will happen. He comes out severally. Look, again, I'm not defending him. What I'm saying is, let's be fair, not to point just to one person or to one political party. It's a problem that has been there, not only from the previous administration, but has been there for so long. Even the two previous administrations, I think it started during Yerima's time. So you can't say, yeah, I believe the way they handle it, they're handling the whole situation is they didn't do it the way they are supposed to. Just like he said, we need to have all the stakeholders meeting. Now, whether you are in APC, PDP, or whichever party you are in the state, you need to just come together. We'd like to see the likes of Yerima Mbokura, and he made mention of our father, Ali Gusau, and some of these big wheat we have in the state, coming together, regardless of whatever party you are. Look, we have a problem. We gave Mr. President this state almost 90% of the votes. We are not having anything back in regards to this. We have a minister, yes, we do have a minister, but because of the pride and ego that is between the both of them, is making the state now, having so much to pay for it, because the poor masses are the one paying.
Explain that to me, because some would say, these are political figures, these are administrators. How do you think their lack of cooperation directly impacts the insecurity across Zamfara state?
Yes, okay. Now, the governor on his own side, is trying to do whatever he could. That's why he created what is it called, the vigilante group. I forgot what they were called, but he created them and they are working. Even though we have some lapses that were reported, but at least he is trying within his to do what he can. But don't forget, the president is the #1 chief security officer, and he appoints the minister, Bello Matawale. He appoints him to do the right thing. Whether he is the governor now or not, he is also answerable to the president and to the people entirely for the work they are doing there. They have to come out and drop whatever it is that is between them and work for the people. At the end of the day, this whatever chances they are having now is going to go. Within the next few years now, you will sit down and bite your finger. Look, I had the chance to do something about this. What did I do?
But do you think there's a direct correlation between their political differences standing in the way of a solution? Do you think it matters if they see eye to eye on some of these issues regarding what is actually happening on the ground?
Yes, of course. Now, just recently we saw them met at the Katsina Buhari's funeral. We're happy to see that there's no any bad feelings between them. We expect to see that being carried out into some negotiation that would actually impact the state. They know. The previous governor, this is his terrain. He knows what is there. And these are two people that believe in different things. This one believes in negotiating. This one is saying, I'm not going to negotiate, because what does that one bring to us before we did it? And it's true. So now, if we are saying we have to negotiate with these guys, then we have to know that we have control in the negotiation. First of all, they have to disarm. That's what the governor is saying. Again, I'm not defending the governor. I am in NNPP. I mean, we have to come out also and tell them both that, look, you guys are actually going on the wrong way. At the end of the day, none of their family is being killed in these villages. None whatsoever. It doesn't affect them directly. Even though they come out and say this pains them, this is our state. We want to see it like live. We want to see it now. People can't even farm. Nothing is working in the states as regard to security. And let them not forget 2027 is around the corner. What is the president coming to tell the people in Zamfara states? Okay, vote me what? Daughter, what is he going to tell us to vote for him again? Even though they are boasting that he is doing infrastructure and doing, yeah, that is good. But you cannot convince people to vote for you when the security situation of those people is actually down,
And talk to me about what is happening on the ground regarding some of the recent attacks. I mean, we referenced the most recent one. The deputy governor took time to visit some of the affected communities. But there's always a sense that when you talk about insecurity in places like Zamfara, for instance, there's always a political angle, leading many to believe that there is a connection between the politics of the state and the rising insecurity in Zamfara state.
Of course there is. And you can only see that in Zamfara state. You are not seeing it in other states, in Niger, in Jos. You are not seeing particular people saying, okay, the governor, come out and say this governor is not. No. People have to take responsibility. The insecurity situation is everybody's responsibility. So I think the political differences, now anything that will make the other succeed in insecurity, maybe the other party doesn't really want it. And this is wrong. This is why we are saying, their own view, whatever it is, their own feelings, is not relevant to actual problem or what will bring solution to Zamfara. He is the minister for now, and this guy is the governor for now. We have what it takes now to do something, to even command the president and say, look, if you don't do this for us between now and this time, we're not going to give you our vote. We're in politics, democracy. We can do that. Even some of our stakeholders can come and just put that kind of a statement that, look, Mr. President, this is what we do before for you, and you said you're going to do this for us. And so far, nothing yet in terms of security. That's the number one. That's the only thing people in Zamfara State are looking. Not even Zamfara, the Northwest entirely. We have Katsina, our neighbor, the Sokoto, and we have Kebbi. So we're like surrounded in the middle of this, and that's why our state take the biggest hit than all these other states that we're talking about.
I mean, obviously, at the onset or going back 5-6 years ago, Zamfara is considered as the epicenter of the Northwest banditry. It has spilled over to parts of Katsina, parts of Sokoto, Kaduna to some extent, and towards the North Central itself. We've seen some of the proliferation of their attacks whether it's in Kebbi most recently or in parts of Kogi and Niger State. Talk to me about zooming out of Zamfara, whether there is political synergy or political will among the stakeholders and the powers that be across the Northwestern region, because the governor was part of the Northwest Security Summit, I think a little over a year ago in Katsina State and the likes. Regionally speaking, is there a collaborative energy between whether it's the governors or the key stakeholders to actually work together towards fighting this common enemy?
Thank you very much. I think even if there is, it's not enough, because we are not seeing it on the ground. Even the way we see how they handle the security situation, I believe they can do more. Now, you're talking about the entire region, Northwest. We have about 7 states. Now, there's never been a time where we see a collaborative effort from these stakeholders in those states coming together, especially the governors, saying, fine, we have a common enemy. What can we do, all of us in this region, to put everything together, even resources together, to try and work and put an umbrella that will make sure whatever it is that is happening here is not going to happen here, or is being protected, or is being assisted. Let there be like a synergy between them. We're not saying that. You walk from Katsina to Zamfara, you begin to see some people protesting on the way. Every day you see protests. Even last time we were coming back from Zamfara, just last week, there are people on the highway blocking. Even we were lucky to get even across because of the army were there. So the collaborative effort among them is low. Because if there is, this thing will not be the way it is now. And because everybody, this is not news. Everybody knew there are people that are actually giving safe haven to these criminals. That's why they are doing what they're doing. Now, we only have one life. Everybody has one life to live. Now, because this doesn't happen to your family now, it can happen to your family tomorrow or someone you know. And if you're in power today, tomorrow you're not. So it's like a wake-up call. All these differences and trying to put blame is not the solution. They're actually forgetting their mandate. Daughter Law came out and said he's going to face insecurity straight, but he did not. He tried his best. He came out and said that some of his effort that has been sabotaged, been making noise about it. But this is as a result of him not coming down and putting whatever differences he has with the current minister and doing the right thing that they're supposed to do.
But he has also been on record saying, listen, they're aware, his administration is aware of certain political connections between influential figures, key figures in public, and the people perpetrating these heinous crimes. And it looks like he's constrained because they are high-ranking members of the society, quote-unquote, right? How true are some of the allegations do you think the governor is making about this? Because surely, I mean, away from the politics of it, as the chief security officer, he cannot be making those accusations without any sort of evidence, right?
Of course, definitely. He knows. As a chief security, there are security reports coming in every day, and you get to know who and who are involved. Now, it depends on the will, the political will to do the right thing. If you want to be the bad egg among them, go ahead and make sure you do the right thing. That way, you're not gonna. But for political relevances, I don't know why they are not doing what they're supposed to do. Because if I know particularly that Mr. A and Mr. B is having his hand in this, there's nothing stopping me from going after him or investigating. I'm the governor. It's my responsibility.
Do you expect him to name names?
Of course. Come on and name names. The people dying, are they not human beings? There are people, children, they have names also. So let us know who are those people. Let us go after them. Nobody is above the law. When you bring everything out, people will know you are trying. But all this noise is too much. Zamfara people deserve chance to live. They need to breathe. You know, they are not breathing. Nothing is happening in Zamfara State other than bad news coming out every day. I'm sure you people are even tired of reporting all the bad news coming. We want to see something good, tangible things practically happening. Not he is trying on the infrastructure development and other issues with the airport and it. But number one thing is the security. Myself, I go to my state, I go to hotels and go and sleep, surrounded by armies, blah, blah, because I'm afraid to stay in my house. Last time I was there, I was attacked myself. So it involves everybody. Everybody is involved. So I believe for them now, they have few months, I think about 20 months to do the right thing. And if that is not being done, they are not the only people. There are other competent people that can come on board and to do the right thing.
And do you think, against the backdrop of the next election, is security an agenda that has been weaponized politically, so much so that everybody is pandering to the people, telling the people what they need to hear or what they want to hear to gain their trust and, more importantly, their votes on election day?
Yeah, I think people now actually are beyond, they understand what is behind all those kind of politicking, because you can come out and say this is, okay, just example what happened just a few days when we have our leaders converge in Kaduna to try and say the president has fulfilled all his promises and that he has done improve on insecurity and all these things. You know, it's very absurd because it's just a few days, I think, or a day or two when they had this meeting, when we have about 38 people that have been slaughtered. It makes the news and everybody know about that. For that to even happen and for them not acknowledging it, I think it says a lot about the current security's insensitivity by the leaders we have now. Because if they do, I don't think that meeting should have even hold to come and tell people like, we have done this, we have done this.
And in talking about the spread, right, because you hear from the state government or even the federal government, for instance, the National Security Advisor most recently in Kaduna was very proud about their record, saying, listen, people can now travel the length and breadth of the Northwest without having to consider the fear of an attack or abduction and things like that. I mean, obviously, people disagree with him on some of those points. But as someone who is from Zamfara State, give us an understanding, your understanding of the scale of the problem. Dr. Suleiman, in his interaction with us on this platform, alluded to how more than 90% of the state is in the hands of bandits. Is that your understanding of
no, I can't say more than 90% of the state. If you say more than 90% of the state, that means everywhere. No, we have places that are still, they still go to farm, even if it's in a very small, but the majority, people are scared. They can't even go to farms. They can't go to market without police or army escort. It's just becoming a normal thing that these things are happening and nobody is doing anything about it, because there has not been arrests or any investigation to say, okay, what are we even doing since? Okay, the security forces have been trying, investigating, but what are the results? Because the situation keeps getting worse. Yes, the NSA is saying we have a level of kind of security now being under control. It's because this is on the road. Maybe if you're going to Zamfara from Funtua, you get to see a little checkpoint on the road. But that is not the issue. That's to say they give priority on the people on transit, on transport, not the villages, because the villages are being ransacked every day. And these guys go there and do whatever it is without any retaliation or any resistance from anybody. Right. So I think that says it all. Not on the road. Yeah, you can put checkpoints here and there, but the villages that contain the massive numbers of these people are being attacked every day. So he can't come out and say this is not happening. He knows.
And in your view, is this a scale issue where the security response is just not big enough to deter these criminals from continuously attacking communities, killing and maiming people?
Of course, it's not big enough. We are being called the giant of Africa. For what? For the economy or for the military? I believe for you to be giant of anything, you have to have a very viable military and to have a very strong economy. As of now, I don't know if we're having that in Nigeria, but I believe we don't. So for the consistent attack that's been happening. And these people are not hidden. They don't hide. They go on social media and spend time to do a lot of things there, to even show their location. There is no any resistance. We have cases where soldiers are coming out to confess that, look, there are issues that they would start advancing, and a call will come in to tell them you have to withdraw. Even the recent killing now, these people, they were being kidnapped, about 50 of them, where 38 were killed. The people that wanted to take the ransom came with the money and met with the security officer. What did they tell them? That, look, we can only take pictures of you before and after you guys go and come. We can't do anything without any order. Imagine. Just imagine. And then they went and delivered this, only to be told that only the 18 people are alive. The other ones have been. And then the brutal way in which they met their end is just so heartless. And why even, I believe, people are coming out to castigate the governor. Yes, he's wrong on this. I don't see a reason why about 38 citizens being slaughtered and you are there in another country for somebody. I don't know, they say he went for his daughters. It's very wrong. He has to calm down himself and go and see these people.
Do you think the political leadership in Zamfara State, whether those in power at the state or at the national, are out of touch with the reality on ground?
They are not out of touch, they just don't care. I don't believe they truly care. Because if they truly 100% genuinely care, there would be a solution by now. I'm not only talking about the governor or the minister, I'm talking about anybody that has ever been in any political position in that state, currently, whether a senator or a member, because we don't even have senators or members.
What do you mean you don't have senators?
We don't.
You do have senators.
Yeah, we do. They go in there to warm the seat and sit down while their people die. They don't come out and make noise about it or even do what they need to do the needful. It's just going to share trucks of trailers, give them rice here and there. You know, nothing sustainable there. You can't come after I'm being killed, you offer me rice. Rice is not the solution. I want to go and do things by myself. Let the states have some breathing space. We are not lazy people in Zamfara State. We've been known, for farming and other things. But since the, mining industry start booming in that state, we haven't seen any,
And is that the crux of the matter for you?
Of course, we believe so. Everybody should know that. Mining is one of the key things that is making our state ungovernable right now. And plus the political influence that if I do this now, this person cannot have chance in the next coming election. That has to stop. We need to value our people. We need to value the people we represent. Because if at the end of the day, you just come in and just make noise and say you have done this, and while on the reality we know it's not true, then what are you coming to tell people tomorrow? Honestly.
And just before we go, where do you stand on the polarizing topic of to negotiate or not to negotiate? What is your reading of communities? Where do they stand on, the idea of negotiating? I mean, clearly, the governor has made it very clear about using kinetic measures to end banditry, or at least mitigate it, right? Whereas we're also hearing the bandits, some of them, the most obvious ones, the notorious ones like Bello Turji would come on social media and say, listen, we're open to negotiating with the government and so on and so forth. Where do you stand on this as an indigene of Zamfara State?
Before I negotiate with you, I need to see commitment from you. That's what the governor is even saying, that it's not like he's not open 100% to negotiations, but at least there should be commitment to show these people really wants to negotiate and maybe be given amnesty. How can you tell me after burning down a bus with children inside, you now want to come back and say, I want to negotiate and have peace? We've tried that before. This Mr. Shaibu was saying, the previous speaker, that Matole did try during his time when they kidnapped the school children, that he went beyond. Yes, he did well. We cannot condemn that. But at the end of the day, what is the current situation now? Has it changed? Nothing changes. It's even more, just like he said. So the most important thing is, whether kinetic or non-kinetic approach to this, is that we need to have something solid and workable. And this is something that all the people involved, all the stakeholders involved need to come together and realize, look, this is the last thing we are going to do for these people, because their time is going. You know, their political career is declining. Whether they like it or not, they need to do something now, at least so that people will be proud of them 20 or 30 years down the line.
That's the legacy, isn't it?
Thank you very much.
Right, okay. Umar Yuguda, thank you so much for providing some insight on this one. I appreciate you very much for stopping by on Daily Politics. Thank you so much for your time.